Okay, how much does Rex weigh?
He is about 25 pounds.
That'll work. That'll work. And when you take him out on a walk, he's on a leash.
Yes. By the way, Rex is our dog. He's not one of our kids. We don't walk our kids on leashes.
No.
So I just want to make sure that we get that out there right
for the
now.
clarification. See, I need more coffee. I need more
You need
Raphael's.
Raphael's.
Yes, because we run on Raphael's.
Yeah, we do.
Oh,
Raphael's coffee
Yep.
is like amazing. I love
is.
Raphael's Roastery.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember? Okay, I still remember my first time
squirrel, go.
going to Raphael's. Do you remember your first time?
I do. It was not with you.
No, but the first time I went there, like you pulled into the parking lot with the windows up and the doors closed. I'm like, ooh, it smells kind of good. You open the car door and you're in the parking lot and it smells amazing. And then we walked into the roastery itself. I think there's a big section of heaven that's going to smell just like Raphael's.
And that's the thing. It is a roastery. It's not a coffee shop. All they do is roast beans. There's a sparkle and a chill
That's
version.
right. Those
because
two blends.
That's our little fun moniker, Sparkle and Chill, Don and Steve Plus, and Raphael'sCoffee.com. That's where we get the good stuff. And yeah, I mean, I'm running on water right now, but that's after Raphael's.
I get it. I get it. Raphael's
So
is good stuff.
I need more Raphael's.
All right, back to Rex.
Yeah.
The
Rex
dog.
the dog.
Not the
Rex
kid.
the dog.
Yeah.
When you're taking Rex for a walk, and how do you clean up after Rex?
We have these little baggies
Yep.
that, you buy them and I don't know, on Amazon. It feels like we get thousands at a time.
And use them.
And we use
Oh,
them.
Yep, we
Yes.
do too for Pepper when we take her for a walk. Or if you're out in the backyard, what if I said, give me $80 and you won't have to do that anymore?
Ever?
Yes.
I mean, if you're telling me I give you $80 right now and I never have to pick up my dog's waste again, I'm going to give you $80. So are you coming over to pick that up?
No. I'm just going to send it on to Dirt Devil. No. Keep it in your wallet. Dirt Devil Dog Walker Dog Pooper Scooper is a thing, and it's $80. And the reason I hesitate is because as I look at this
like a vacuum?
contraption, it kind of is. It sucks it in.
It sucks up
It's
the
a
dog poop.
contraption, so you
Okay.
don't have to touch it. So you don't have to take the little bag on your hand and scoop up your dog's refuse, but it will pull it into it looks like an eco-friendly coffee cup. That's what the contraption looks like that it puts it in. So that it's biodegradable, it'll break down. Here's why I hesitated on $80 ever. After you use the first 16 cups that come with the Dirt Devil Pooper Scooper, you have to pay for the refills.
That's probably great. That's where they make all their money, isn't it?
You think that's a deal breaker for you?
It depends on the price. Probably.
How badly do you hate using those bags? I mean, some people have more cringe than others.
I don't have a ton of cringe.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't either.
yeah.
But if you had a big dog, this is me. This is totally me on everything in life.
Because my dog's 25 pounds. What yours is? Pepper's
13.
about 13?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's a baby. She's not. She's full grown, but she's just a small dog. I always think of life through the lens of my experience. I do.
Okay.
When I think about dogs and scooping up all that stuff, I'm thinking of Pepper. And that's not all that huge. If I had like a Mastiff or something that was so big, like horse size, I probably would be more inclined to this little pooper scooper idea. However, it only serves dogs, they recommend up to about 50 pounds.
Okay. Which I would imagine most breeds are going to fall underneath that. But yeah, there's some big ones that definitely a lot bigger than that.
I just can't. But or you could do this as opposed to having Rex and having to care for all that. There is new AI, of course, an autonomous robot for what's it called? Wait a minute. It's ARII, ARI, autonomous robot for industrial inspections. It's a robot dog.
No.
See, I don't get it either.
I mean, I get maybe the robot dog for inspections, like at the airport.
Oh,
I suppose if it's walking around and it's doing its scanning
What
thing.
does it do? Oh,
I don't know.
it can't smell.
Right. Supposedly it was demonstrated at the Scanbotics booth at a recent convention.
It doesn't even look friendly.
No.
It looks very sci-fi movie, doesn't it?
Totally. And actually kind of creepy. So, because it's got like this box for a body and then these kind of wannabe dog legs.
Do you remember in Toy Story
It's
when
just
they
creepy.
put like the rector arms on the doll where it walked around on those little rector set arms? That's kind of what the dog reminds me of.
Yeah.
It's very industrial looking. I get it if it's doing searches, like you said, at the airport, but I cannot imagine, like, yeah, you'd have to clean up after your dog more so than take that on as a pet. Can you even do that?
No.
That's weird.
No.
But
'Cause
there's...
that can't cuddle up with you or anything like that.
But there's an autonomous dog that's been displayed at this very same show, the CES 2025, and it's called the Tombot, hyper-realistic autonomous dog. Now, this one does look legit. It's wild.
It looks like a really good stuffed animal, like a high-quality stuffed animal.
Yeah, and it's made for folks that can't have, like, a pet in their premises. Think elderly, maybe somebody that is in a nursing home or assisted living, but they want a companion, then that's what this is geared for. I could almost see this being more for patients that have dementia.
Right.
Somebody that can't care for a dog anyway, but that something like this would be soothing to have next to them.
Yeah, I could see that. One of the other contraptions that they had at the show that I still don't totally get is they have a stringless guitar. Like, didn't we go through that like 15 years ago with Guitar Hero?
Yeah.
Where you just basically press a button, chord button or note button, whatever on your stringless guitar. Apparently this thing is making some sort of a comeback.
Really?
I don't know.
Why?
I think it's kind of lame myself.
I mean, there is a skill set to it, but not like being an artist.
Yeah.
Someone who plays an instrument.
I had to look this thing up because the USA Today article just kind of had pictures and barely a description. Built into the guitar, there's also a drum machine. You can do a bass line. You can basically almost set this up so it's like a full band experience on your stringless guitar. That is basically like a glorified Guitar Hero guitar.
Are we simplifying everything just to make our
I feel
lives
like I could be a rock star with one of
easier?
these.
Yeah, I'm sure you could. Especially if it comes in like extra long. I wonder if they come in sizes for different heights and
Not that I've seen, but I'll keep looking.
I think the only thing that I see here that I might think has some value to it, honestly, is this toothbrushing demonstration. Did you see this?
No, not that one.
It's some kind of brushing game so that it encourages kids to brush their teeth.
Okay.
And at first I thought, well, come on, like that's what parents are for. We teach our kids to take care of themselves, to steward the bodies. You started early, right? But I realized that we live in a different society now, and maybe this would be helpful where kids can see their teeth in kind of a cartoon way on a screen and see that they're getting them clean because of the sensors on the brush.
Okay. How much does that thing cost?
Just old school enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't go down that route because my kids, they better be brushing their teeth.
Yeah. Well, if you
They're
got
adults now.
if you're looking to burn a little extra money here, there's a new chair that's coming out.
Oh.
It's the Body Friend SR 733.
What?
It's only $20,000.
Oh, is that all?
Massage chair, controlled arm and leg movement technologies, health monitoring, biometric data, all AI-based disease predictor and assessment. And it looks like it could be one of the Transformers.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't. Like, I've always wanted one of the $4,000 chairs. Now you're telling me they're $20,000?
Right.
And no, I don't have one. Because
Inflation.
That's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
way too expensive for a chair. I just wonder, though, all this technology, and it'll keep coming because AI keeps advancing. Are we doing this to our detriment? Okay, so just hear me out on this. Obviously, we don't have to churn butter anymore.
Thankfully.
You can go and you can buy your butter. Some people will because they want to kind of get back to homestead so that they have the ability to do that. I kind of admire that. I'm not going to lie.
All right. So you're going to, if I get you a butter
I didn't say I
churner
was
for
doing it.
your birthday, you're going to be happy about that?
No. The most butter I ever made was putting, is it heavy cream into a baby food jar, and then you shake it. We did this in kindergarten with my youngest, and you just shake it until it turns into butter.
How long does that take?
Quite a while.
Yeah.
Yes. I'd rather have a churn, to be honest, because that takes so much effort. I just really appreciate, though, knowing how to do things that maybe modern conveniences have kept us from doing. Do you know, I didn't own a colander. Do you know what a colander is?
Like a strainer?
A strainer. I did not own a colander until I was married, and a gal at church, I was telling her, we were at her house for dinner one night. She had a colander, and she had made pasta. And I'm like, that is so cool. I've always wanted a colander. And she's like, why don't you have? Why? We never needed one. Mom and Grandma, they just took the lid to the pot and then just held the lid and drained all the water out. You don't need a colander. Grandma didn't have one. Mom didn't have one. Why would you need it? And so
you don't need a colander, but it's nice.
This dear friend went and got me one.
Yeah.
It was the sweetest thing. And I know that's a modern convenience that just makes a lot of sense.
Right. Plus it doubles as a hat.
Only for you. Got tinfoil and cats, do you?
Yeah.
But, you think about modern conveniences and how they've changed. And I wonder if are they dumbing us down?
In some ways.
I mean, not that long ago, we talked about the ability to think deeply, which I kind of blew that conversation. But anyway.
I think they are possibly in part dumbing us down. I think if more than anything, it is encouraging us to look for shortcuts.
Sure.
And teaching us that things are so quickly replaceable. Like, when you talk about modern conveniences and the things that are changing and the way in which technology is changing things, when's the last time you called a repairman to your house to fix something that broke?
Well, when I called the repairman to fix what broke, he came out and he was about 12 years old, and he looked at the freezer and said, "This can't be repaired." And I said, "No, dude, it's like 10 years old. You need to repair it." "No, you can't, this and that." Meanwhile, he's looking at YouTube and calling the company, other people who have been doing this job longer. Okay, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. You got to learn some way. I don't care if you're young. He was giving it his best shot, kind of. But that was the end diagnosis. Nope, we cannot repair this. You have to buy a new refrigerator.
Exactly. I mean, maybe a furnace. There are certain things. But for most things in the house, it's get rid of it, replace it.
It's bad.
Right? It's so just the way it is. We had the ice maker go out on our fridge that we had owned for less than 3 years. Called the repair person. Thankfully, they were able to order a new part and just simply replace that thing. But they're like, yeah, they don't build these things like they used to. They're like, your fridge used to be, there was like one main component in a fridge that kept everything cold. There's like, you now have like 8 compressors and 4 motors and all these things that are in our fridge right now. I may have the number slightly off, but the point is, there's like
slight hyperbole,
but not by a lot.
Sure.
I mean, if it's hyperbole, it's minor hyperbole, because he was saying there are so many components and computer chips and electronics and motors and things in our devices now that can go wrong. They're like, and they're so cheap generally that it's not cost effective to repair if they even can.
Time out. There's nothing cheap about these appliances that wear out.
I get it.
In less than 10 years.
Yeah.
Nothing cheap.
No, right. it's getting crazy how expensive some of this stuff is.
And therein lies, like, okay, so you remember, depending on your age bracket, when I was a kid, like my grandpa he taught himself how to repair things because he just didn't call repair people. He just didn't. And if he got stuck, he'd ask somebody at church, have you ever worked on this? Have you ever replaced this? And they would help one another out.
Yeah.
My other side, Daddy, he was never taught those things. So Grandpa grew up on a farm. And yeah, Daddy grew up the baby of 11. So way different dynamic there. He always called repair people to come. And so, but my hubby is the same way. Like his family would call people to repair. So then we get married and we're like, how are we supposed to repair things? Now, to his credit, he's figured out a lot through the years. But those machines lasted a long time. Think washer and dryer.
Oh, yeah.
Dishwashers weren't quite as popular back when I was younger. I am stunned at the cost and the longevity. They do not equate.
They build them now to, depending on the appliance and things, they used to build stuff to last for 20 years. Now they build it to last for 7.
But they're charging you for 50.
Right. Exactly. Because now that you have become accustomed to that modern convenience, the water dispenser in your fridge, the ice maker, the fact that you have a dishwasher now that does all these different things, your washer and dryer that have 19,000 settings on them, now that you become accustomed to all that, they know that you're not going to go without. So they can charge you that.
But here's where I go back to, we allowed ourselves to adapt to the technology, which we will continue to do with
and
AI.
We're going to keep doing it.
And our phones. I mean, we've talked about the distraction that they've brought into our lives. Will we continue with things like chairs and dogs and things that help us brush our teeth? Will we continue down that road? I don't know, Steve.
Yes, we will.
We will.
I wish we wouldn't.
Yeah. But I'm afraid that we will take the things that are convenient and replace the things that make life a little hard or take more time.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the things that we can do now, we kind of dreamed about as kids. You would write papers in 3rd grade about the stuff we can do now.
Right.
Your watch.
You can make a phone call on your watch, right?
Somebody called the other day, and I'm like, oh, my phone's in the other room. Hang on. I'm on my Inspector Gadget watch. I'm coming. Hold on. But you can.
Yeah.
Now, I don't have it on today, and I feel a little lost. It's just weird what we'll let. And I was talking in an exercise class the other day, and I said, I got to start my app. Because if I don't start my app when I do the class, then did I really exercise? I said, these things have trained us. They have trained us.
Did you really exercise? Your body should be able to tell you whether or not you really exercised.
But my watch will shame me if I don't hit play on that.
Consider
but I'm
the
just
source.
saying, yes, but this is what we've allowed.
Yeah.
This is what I've allowed. If I want that, I want that accomplishment. I want to see that I checked that box today. What have we done? What have we done? And then we go, well, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. Well, okay, Dawn Ray, you just eased a lot of time out of your schedule by hitting the app or sending a text instead of a 2-hour phone call. You don't have time?
Yeah, we don't make time.
Hey.
If we're going to be honest about it, that's
a word
what
change.
it is most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
We don't make time. We don't prioritize.
Mm.
And until we decide that is a priority, spending time in the Word with God is a priority, doesn't matter. We're going to continue to use all the modern conveniences. We're going to use all those things. We're going to find other things to fill the time. And that is going to continue to stay closed and on the coffee table or bookshelf or wherever.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
When there are a lot of apps that can help you memorize the word, that can help you study the word, help you listen to the word, I still think I know listening is helpful.
Yeah.
But there is something about picking it up and getting into it
and turning the
seeing-
pages.
There is. But however you get into the Word, I think there's where you could use technology for your spiritual benefit.
Yeah.
Like, I know my son has a favorite preacher, and he'll put his sermons on kind of on a loop. And I think, well, that's better than a lot of things you could be listening to.
Right. Yeah.
So keep it up.
Same with my son. It's kind of crazy. He wanted a cell phone so that he could listen to preachers. We're like, no, but you can have a Google smart speaker in your room.
Okay.
So he can listen to them that way. And it's cool that you can do that. I think the other thing that really helps with opening up the Bible is finding other people that are going to do that with you.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be in a life group, Sunday school class, accountability partner, somebody somehow, do that reading plan together.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about it at least occasionally. Just that built-in accountability makes a huge, huge difference. Our church is doing that this year. And the fact that we are having sermons preached from that our Sunday school class lessons are coming from that our life group conversations are going to be structured around that there's podcasting that's about all that. Yeah, all those things working together provide the accountability that I think a lot of us are hopefully going to persevere all year long and get through the Bible this year. At least that's my prayer and hope.
That's cool, though, because you're
Yeah.
using old school, like getting together and talking, and you're using technology, podcasts, and different apps where you can read the
Daily
Bible.
email reminders and all of that.
Yeah. So you've got kind of the best of both
Yeah.
worlds, which I think that's, what do we say? Everything in moderation. To me, if I'm going to think about AI and how I've seen my life change for convenience factor with the introduction of computers and phones and all the different things that we can use, there's been some great things, great conveniences. There's also some pitfalls that we know they're very readily available. But to use technology to help us, especially if we stop and think, because if you talked about talking about it, talking about the Word, having accountability, I think about listening to like my kids, and if they have a game they like, they're talking about it.
Yeah.
I remember growing up when people loved stats of baseball teams, basketball teams, football teams. They could just talk about everything, recipes, whatever you're passionate about.
You talk about it.
You're going to talk about it. If you're a techie, nothing wrong with that. You're going to talk about it. That should stop us, though, and say, okay, Lord, what do we know about your Word? What do we know about you?
Yeah.
Who are you, and what can we learn from studying your Word? And therefore, use technology for your benefit, and not just a dog that looks like a ratchet set.
It does. It's kind of sad that it does, but it does. There's so many good ways to use technology. And hopefully, one of the things that maybe you're using technology for is podcasting. Not just this podcast, but there's lots of other good ones
so
out
many
there.
good ones.
And, I love to listen to all sorts of different podcasts. A lot of great Bible teachers out there. A lot of people talking about how we live the Christian life well.
Yeah.
Looking at what's happening in culture and in the news and thinking, all right, let's run that through the grid of Scripture and how do we think biblically about what we have going on in our world today. So I think there are a lot of positive benefits to using tech, but you said a lot of potential downfall as well. So it's all about the intentionality.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And being aware, intentionality, how we're going to use, not social media, how we're going to use technology to help us, and not like it's the dog wagging the tail, not the tail wagging. And we can talk about it, but if we don't do something, and I think as we do podcasts and talk about real life things, that's the heart of Don and Steve Plus, is we want so much that we will disciple one another, because that's what Jesus called us to do, go and make disciples, and that we will be iron sharpening iron with the challenges of this world. And to keep up with all of that, speaking of technology, could you like and subscribe? We'd so appreciate that. And then we can let you know when the next show comes out. It's easy to do. Just click that little button, and we appreciate you being our plus one.